Hey everybody, it's Eddie Ray with Destination Campground, and we're at Cedars of Lebanon State Park in Lebanon, Tennessee. This is just a little about 40 miles east of Nashville, out Interstate 40 heading towards Gatlinburg. So to tell you just a little bit about this park, this state park, has 3 separate campgrounds, of which I'm going to give you a tour of each of the campgrounds. And they have frisbee golf, they have hiking trails, they have swimming pools, what else? Horseback riding. They have horseback riding, and again, it's Easter weekend, so there's plenty of things going on today and this weekend at Cedars of Lebanon. The campgrounds are packed and there are people everywhere, and of course we're on the cusp of spring. So let me show you, give you a quick look around and see what you think, and if you got any questions, comments, ask as we go along. Thanks. Upon entrance into Cedars of Lebanon, there is a large visitor center. There's also a campground store a little further in. All camping reservations and cabin reservations are made online, so don't just show up trying to expect a spot. It'd probably get you jammed up. Otherwise, there's merchandise to be sold, obviously information, different sorts of things like that. So this is your visitor center at Cedars of Lebanon. Part of this is the campground store. I'll show you around here behind me. You want to check in with your camper. They sell you firewood, there's clothing, there's some snacks here and there, and then the couple things that we all forget as we go along on our camping trips. Check in with the store, check in with the camp host once you get your spot going. This is Campground 1, sites 1 through 45. So you can see behind me from a view, this is your Campground 1. Directly across from Campground 1 is your dump stations. They have 3 large dumpsters here for everybody's garbage, and of course don't forget to recycle. That's something that Angie and I have picked up and started doing to try to give back a little bit. Now the dump stations have 2 dump stations which are parallel to each other, here and here. I would fair to say on a Sunday, if you're going to get out of this place, you better get out quick, because the line to get through the dump station's got to be a nightmare. I think we all learned that from time to time, don't we? Behind me is Campground 1, and these campsites are structured line, site, road, site, and on as you go. Some of these campsites are right on top of one another, and then others are not. So there's a perimeter of sites, and then there's the inner circle of sites. Campground 2 and 3 are a little bit different and not structured this way. I'd fair to say this is probably the original campground when they built the park, if they didn't do it all together at once. Here at the campground, they do have some full hookup sites. I've not used them. We know of some friends that have, but you can see these sites behind me as they are layered out. Now I'm standing at the entrance of campsite 2. Beside campsite 2 is campsite 1. That is a camp host. As you go along though, behind me you can see how these sites are set up. One right after the other, a little bit of living space, and then your next site. Again, I had said this campground is full, and it clearly shows. People are itching for nice weather, People are itching for no COVID. People are itching for activity. This site here is a good representation of what these sites look like. You have your pull through, and then you have your living area, burn pit, picnic table. They got a grill and a bag lantern hanger or bag hanger. The site which I showed you is site 9. Now all of these sites have a placard number so you can identify who is what and where. This here is site 8 and site 7. I'm going to walk on through another empty site, which is a simple pull through. This site here is site 17. So, parking area and kitchen area or living area. And this goes all the way down. As you can see, they are lined up in here. Now, this campground does have Wi-Fi. So if you are in a situation where you can use Wi-Fi, there are Wi-Fi towers spread all throughout the campground. Now, each of these sites have a zigzag type formation when you're coming in. The site directly behind me here is site 33. You have your back over here, your outside living area, your burn pit, your grill, lantern hanger. They all have this. Now, I was talking about the perimeter of the sites. You can see here there's a perimeter. You can back up, and this little site here with this Lance camper is site 43. It's kind of up on a hill, and it just walks around the perimeter of the inner part of the campground. Now, campground 1 has a bathhouse. Now, one thing that's unique about Cedars of Lebanon that I had forgotten, so the showers and the toilet areas are on opposite sides of the building. So you go to the bathroom and you decide you're going to take a shower next. Well, you have to go outside and go around. I'll show that to you in a couple of the other campgrounds. But again, we can accommodate here the largest of camp rigs, and then directly across the street, the smallest. Okay, so I'm at the side of the pool. Let's look at this. Yes, this is the swimming pool. Obviously, closed for the season, so don't get your hopes up about the pool in 2021. They'll start working on it this summer, probably available some other time after that, right? Anyway, little area just past the pool is this area. Sinkhole type area. Goes way down there. Now, this part of Tennessee, I guess, or Wilson County is where we are. There's a lot of limestone, a lot of crevices, a lot of sinkholes. So you gotta be mindful of that, but it's neat for those exploratory kind of type. There's even a little cave you can go to here that you can crawl in, but you got to get a permit because when you don't come back, they need to come looking for you. So part of the activities. There's plenty of trails here at this state park. And you know, spring is just beautiful. The red buds are blooming right now. The trees are starting to shed and become little leaves. And this area is just beautiful. Some wildflowers blooming. It's just very pretty at this point, this time of year. Campgrounds 2 and 3 have sites 46 through 117 here at Cedars of Lebanon. We're going to go through Campground 2 first, and once we exhaust number 2, we'll go a little further. We are in Campground 2, so let's take a right. So directly behind me is campsite 46. It's a back-in. My mother had her GoPro stored there over the past couple of days. Next to site 46 is 48, and then next to site 48 is 50. Campground 2 is kind of on a hilly area, so you got to be prepared for that. And you can't really put the biggest of camper rigs in here. You need to pay attention to your parking area, because if you don't, you'll be jammed up. And there are, as you can see, plenty of trees alongside the road. So who all seen somebody who has scraped a tree? Now we are at campsite 49. This is our camping rig. I hope that it looks familiar by previous videos. And we have plenty of space for what we are. Not anything extra, but simply plenty. So we can show you a little bit about that. You can see it does look a little bit crowded. However, it's just enough space for us three. We have our fire pit here, our chairs, table, concrete table, and then just a little bit of space before that. Now I think the living space for this campsite for our camper is, or not the living space, the parking space is 44 feet. You know, when you got a 29-foot camper and then four-door truck, crew cab, it's about all you can do to fit your rig in the spot. Campsite 53 with this large fifth wheel. Campsite 54. Campsite 55. Yeah, that's still 53. That's still 53. This little GeoPro here is 55. So you can see they fit in there quite well. Now across from 55 is an empty site. It's going to be campsite 56. It has a slight incline. We probably could fit our rig into it. It would be tight. And it's, you know, maybe enough width for your camper plus some living space, but not two vehicles. Of course, your table, burn pit, grill, and etc. Now these folks here are trying to fit this gigantic wildwood into their site. I don't want to watch a video and make it too rough on them, but you see what people are having to try to get through to get their stuff in. It's quite a tight fit. And the man backing that huge rig into there drives a fire truck, so I think he probably has some skills. Behind me here is 61. You can see it's not small, not big, but probably just quaint enough to where we can fit what we need. Your power strip over here. Next to that is site 63. Same kind of setup. It is not quite too big, but just big enough. Now I talked about big rigs. Let's take a look at this next one. Campsite 66 hosts this gigantic thing. I love it. I'd like to have one, but man, I can't imagine I'd be unnerved trying to rig that thing, or to, you know, wedge it in there. Campground 2 is a little bit hilly, and that being said, you got to kind of be able to navigate your way around. This here is campsite 67. You can see that they fit in there pretty good. And as we go along, I'm going to show you where my mother moved to from the previous campsites. Mom is in campsite 70. She's been walking her cats, but you can see her little GoPro, and you can see the space that she has here. So plenty of space. Now I think it's a buddy site with 69. Those people are camping in tents, so she just backed all the way up and kind of blocked it, so it really separates the two sites. Mom brings her cats camping with her and has a cat camping contraption that those that like to travel with cats have. So the cats live under here and have access to all of this. So they travel down the little thing and the tube, and they go into this net contraption. So they can kind of be contained and do what they want, and then of course go right back up in there in the night and hide. I think she's got a litter box in there, and then they just make their way up into the camera, and that's how it works. So it's kind of neat how she has that set up. Campsite 72. We're going to come up on campsite 74. There's a lot of dogs here too. It's campsite 75. As you can see, it's pretty open. It would probably accommodate 40 some odd feet. 75 is 73. And then 76. So don't be mistaken. I know some of these sites have a lower amperage for their electricity, so be mindful of that when you make a reservation here. Just got to kind of pay attention, but you know, don't we all, in everything we do. This is campsite 79, and you can see it satisfies that space pretty well also. Now there's a couple of walkthroughs. Let's go up here to a bathhouse and see what these things look like. Give you a campground number 2 bathhouse. You can see with the bathhouse there are 4 showers, and each of the showers both are male or female, and there is a handicap shower. You'll make entrance into these showers, you'll see that there's plenty of space. You have a small wall, a sprayer, and then down at the bottom, a drain. And then a small sitting area for whatever you may need that for. There are hanging hooks on the wall and plenty of area to take care of your shower needs. Now, I do not like the sprayer. Not my favorite, but I'll turn it on and show you what it gives us. It's just like I think, a small spray, so not much to that. It could be probably a little bit better. Now they do have a heater for the showers. All right, this is the restroom area. You can see that there are a couple of sinks, a urinal for the men's, and then a stall for number 2s, and then another stall. They got toilets and sinks and things. Restrooms are occupied. Campsite 81, but the Ford Explorer pulling the camper. I like that. All means. Campground host not far from the bathhouse, and reasonably close near the exit of the entrance of campground number 2. It's kind of curvy through here, so again, don't run over any trees. Coming up next to me here is 84, this one, so you can kind of see what they got going on. And then 86 is empty, so you can look at it too. That's 86 right here. We'll take a look at it. You can see they have everything you need. Same old stuff. So we talked about trails here, and this is where we are on one of the little trails. There's a nature center up here, and there's a little, maybe like a lodge type little area where people are getting married today. So congratulations to them. Now, here's the cave that I was talking about a little earlier. So, see if we can't give you a look in, but you can see down in here is a little cave. People are down in there, and you got a little permit, and you can go into it, but you know, it's kind of like crawling into. With hard rain, though, this was really pretty, and quite a river was coming out of that cave a little earlier. So here at Cedars of Lebanon, there's a real pretty area. I don't know what you call it, a courtyard, maybe. It's pretty large. It's adjacent to the nature center. They have a playground, which is over here, and there's nature exhibits, and then there's a basketball court right back here. So lots of neat things here. It's real pretty here. I'd say in the spring, summer, like what we are, the people come out and enjoy this area. You know, we're trying to exercise COVID concerns amongst getting vaccinations or not. We're still going to use precautions, but this is just a pretty area to be. Pretty nice, natural, open area. Okay. Campground 3, 88 through 117. Now, Campground 3 is across the ways from Campground 2 and across the road from Campground 1. Now, we stayed here some time ago, but it rained the whole time. We ended up leaving earlier, so I couldn't bring you any entertainment from that video or that stay. It's one-way circle, one way in, one way out. Just follow the path. Show you several sites, and even the site that we stayed at while we were here some time ago. To my side here is campsite 90. One thing that is different, now this backs up to that site there is campground number 2, but these sites have primarily asphalt. Now the living area may be some gravel, but asphalt. This is site 92 here. Now this is the site we stayed at the last time. It's perfect space, it's wide enough, and your living area is here. So it's some gravel, table, and grill. Now the burn pit is over on the side here. Now these are large burn pits, and they have that little turn grate above them. You can see it right there. Now our site in campground number 2 has that as well. But just understand, those are all primarily new. But again, this is 92, back over here, prior site 90, and then directly across the tree line is Campground 2, where we're staying this time. Where in Campground 2, you could get a few large campers in. Campground 3, well, 1, 2, and then behind me here, 3. So plenty of space for large campers. Now, just on past site 95 is the Bathhouse. Not very far. We'll make our way around and up to the Bathhouse, show you a few other sites. These sites are also spaced out quite a bit more. So if you want some privacy or some quietness, these give you just a hint more than you do in campground number 2, and definitely a lot more than campground number 1. 98A, tent. 98B, pull through site. So 99, the site here, and then onwards. 100's a really nice private site. Nobody on the far side of you, nobody behind you, kind of in your own little area. You can see they've got all they need in there, size-wise. You can get a couple of vehicles in. 101, nice. 102, plenty big. Now it's not near as long. You could get a camper and a vehicle in there side by side, but not one in front of the other, like pulling style. There's the living area they'll have, and then 103 is this behemoth. It's really not all that big, but this camper here, and then probably 104 there. After that, there's just quite a bit of little space. Now there is a site across the street here, but again, plenty of privacy, plenty of space, everything that you really need. Directly behind me here is this site 108. As you can see, accommodate a very large camper unit. And then over here next to that is 110. And 110 is not much shade if you can handle that, but plenty of width, seclusion from a neighbor from the backside, and that's a pretty nice site. All these sites in number 3 are really good. I'm well impressed with those. Get up here to the next one. This little coachman's at site 112, and it's basically the same as all of them. And then directly behind me there is site 111. These are of campground 3. and onward to looks like a full hookup site. It's probably a host site, or there's a secret site here too. Site 114. So then beyond that's the campground host. There's a couple across the street. All you could want. Finish out campground number 3 is site 117. Plenty of space, very flat, living quarters, the works. Once you get out there, you go on past the dump station and on your way out of State Park. So part of Cedars of Lebanon, they have cabins. This is a cabin. Those are cabins. They're very nice. I think there are 9 total, at least in this area. No pets, according to that. A couple of rocking chairs, and then inside. I'm not going inside, but just to give you an understanding of what they do look like, these are the cabins. There's another cabin over here as well. So this is a little spur off the main road, and it takes you back here to these cabins. It's obviously very wooded and very pretty up through here. These things are everywhere. It's called redwood, by the way. Folks, thanks for watching our review of Cedars of Lebanon Campground. It's a fine place and facility to visit. Thank you for traveling along with us, and I hope you'll subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share. Until next time, dream big and live